My wife and I were in Glasgow one time, and we wanted to find the center of the David Livingstone Park, because my wife happens to be the great-granddaughter of David Livingstone, the explorer. So we tried to find the park, and the signs were so small, and we didn't find a sign until we got to Hamilton. Finally, we found the park, and we were able to see where he was born, where he was raised, and where he received most of his education. So I felt that there should be something other than just a museum to attract customers. So I had in mind, when we got back to London, to try to design a heroic statue of David Livingstone being attacked by a lion. This is one of the highlights in his life. It ruined his arm. He was incapacitated for a good many years. But I felt it was a dramatic situation that would be very good to make a statue. And I modeled David Livingstone, his two bears, and the lion in beeswax. But I never quite finished it. One day we were visited by the curator of the David Livingstone Museum. He's a friend of Diana's. And I showed him the model. And he got quite interested. And I told him that I thought it would be a great advantage to the park to have a 1.5 times or 2 times life size. So he went away for about 6 months, and I didn't hear a word. And finally, he came back and said, "I think we've got somebody who will finance it." So they got the National Trust interested, the Scottish National Trust. And it took Irish sculptor Gareth Knowles 2 years, off and on. He didn't work on it steadily, but he modeled it in clay, a giant size, and then had it cast in Ireland. By truck, we took it to Scotland, and finally, this heroic statue was unveiled April the 7th, 2004. We had a wonderful Scottish gentleman playing bagpipes. We had a chorus from the school. We had maybe 200 or 300 people at the unveiling. I had to make a little speech introducing the bronze to the public and to the National Trust. My personal inspiration for suggesting my original wax model to the National Trust for Scotland came from a depiction in an old lithograph of Dr. Livingstone being attacked by a lion. I have spent the best years of my life in Hollywood, but rarely have I ever heard a more dramatic narrative and a fine example of true, good old-fashioned heroism. To worship a hero should really not be considered in the fickle world of fashion, for it is one of the basics of inspiration and thus a timeless concept. Other of my heroes were artists Michelangelo, Gustave Doré, John Martin, producer Marion C. Cooper, and Willis O'Brien. I am most grateful for having been introduced many years ago to Irish sculptor Gareth Knowles, who has done an exceptional job in turning my dream into a reality. Gareth and I dare you not to be impressed by the adventure, magic, and heroism of Dr. Livingstone. It was a delight to see this bronze mature into something that will be a memory of this heroic man, David Livingstone.